Yeah. Alrighty, boys. This is the first episode of the Inheritage podcast. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Good to
having
be
us,
here.
man.
That's awesome.
All right, we're going to jump straight into it. Everyone on the internet talks about Gen Z guys, but you never hear from Gen Z guys. So I picked the three, Gen Z guy topics. We can pick which one to go first. Online internet masculinity culture, dating and relationships, and, the state of religion and Christianity. What do you guys want to start with?
Ooh.
I kind of like the first one.
The first
Yeah,
one?
It's a good order.
Yeah.
Okay.
Save the hard one for last.
Alrighty. Well, what comes to mind with online internet masculinity culture? When I say that, what pops into your brains?
For me, names like Hormozy,
Hormozy?
and then obviously like Chris Williamson and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huberman, yeah.
Huberman?
Bro, I'm honestly thinking like Andrew Tate. That's what I think. I don't watch these guys really, but that's just what my brain goes to.
Yeah.
It's like a Andrew Tate type situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like Andrew Tate's a little old though. He's definitely disappeared.
5
Yeah.
years ago?
He was a flash in the pan too. He was big and then he was nothing. And he was so, I don't know, he was pretty shallow. So
Yeah.
whatever he was saying didn't really stick
For
very
sure.
long.
What do you guys think, why do you think it's become a thing? The online masculinity, kind of the manosphere, some have called it, and it's they've tried to throw a bunch of, all those names could probably be thrown in there, but
Yeah.
you're probably not having Chris Williamson and Andrew Tate be the same kind of person, but why do you think that's become a thing?
I would say it's the pendulum of the buzzword of toxic masculinity going, you're a man, you shouldn't be doing all this stuff, you're not supposed to be a man, all this stuff, and then obviously you get pushed to the edge, and classic with animals, if you push the edge, they're gonna fight back.
Mhm.
So that's not saying it swinging back is all good momentum, but I think it's from a lack of being pushed outside of your nature and wanting to get back to what we were created to be.
So maybe kind of you're saying we were being pushed so against any kind of masculinity was being pushed down, and so it's just something we needed to take its
Yeah.
place a little bit.
Almost like craving it.
Yeah, it's kind of like if you push it too far outside, outside the boundary, it's gonna have to come back in. It's kind of like what taboo stuff is. Taboo, if you make something taboo and you push it back down, if it's a part of human experience, it inevitably has to come back. You think of movie where I don't know, I think of an abandoned thing out in the woods that you stumble across. The kids go out and they stumble across, it's what's this thing? It's the demons are gonna come back out, and so
Whoa, so masculinity is a demon coming back out?
some people think that's the reaction to the manosphere, even Chris Williamson, who's pretty, I think, pretty reasonable. And then the reaction to that stuff coming back out is it's the demons are here, and which some of them might be legitimate demons. Like Andrew Tate, probably not very
No.
good.
Yeah.
Nick Fuentes,
Yeah.
definitely not. But I think that is how things tend to work there.
But I think it's fair to call it demons because, it seems at least historically, guys do tend to do the craziest, biggest evil acts of history. So I guess, what do you think would be, at least to be wary, what's the kind of masculinity in David Huberman and Chris Williamson and all these guys that we actually like to see, that we do want to see come out and all those things? What do you think are the good things they're bringing that are that make us all kind of at least us Gen Z guys like them and listen to them?
I think it's standing, maybe not standing for something, but it's portraying something to work towards rather than to go away from. It's don't do this, don't be this, don't act this way was kind of the paradigm, and now they're providing, I think, Huberman is very take control of your health, improve your health, and there's something, a goal, maybe not a goal, but an ideal that you're kind of going towards, where there wasn't necessarily an ideal, there's stuff you just didn't do. And so now I think Chris Williamson offers it's self-improvement, it's health, it's learning, it's striving towards something. And I think that's probably the most attractive thing to the whole online men's thing is that it's offering something to become rather than something to not be.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Like, don't
Mhm.
step out of line. Don't like pull the girl's hair. Don't like
Yeah.
do all this stuff that kids like, especially in schools, like step out of line and they get in trouble, and boys like drop out and all this other stuff.
Mhm.
I think that's a great point too, because I mean, I've heard a speaker talk about it before, and even in our own talks we brought it up. But like almost like the brain can't comprehend like a negative. Like even like I think the Romans, they don't have a Roman numeral for 0 because it's like how can something be nothing?
Mm.
And so I've heard it put as like the difference between having a goal and then not doing something still isn't gonna achieve the goal. It's having the vision on it, but the way it is, like they tell like skiers, it's like don't think when you're going down the hill, don't hit the tree, don't hit the tree, don't hit the tree. It's follow the snow, follow the snow. And even in my own, not necessarily skiing, but certain things, it's like, so you're, I don't know, like doing action sports or something, like applying that is so true rather than like focusing on the obstacles. And whenever like our talk we had, like whenever the focal length is zoomed all the way in on the obstruction, it's like, that's the only thing you can think of. And of course you're probably going to be more geared towards hitting it.
Yep.
But whenever you're like, all right, this is the path, stay on it. That's the value.
So we were kind of pushed to the edge by just don't do this, and we aspire to these characters because they give us something to do instead of just not doing nothing, kind of a thing.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of what you were talking about, Trip, is like the difference between like, and it's something I've thought about like after moving here to Austin, is the difference between like agency and intentionality, and then kind of like being caught on your back heels, like trying to, like, are you taking the initiative towards something? And I think that's when you're focusing on the obstacle, you're trying to, like, that's kind of like something acting on you, and you're trying to prepare for something acting at you, rather than you, like, okay, I am actively going to take this path. I'm not going to, try to avoid the tree in the road, but, like, I'm going to take this path. It's like an intentionality agency kind of thing. And I think that's a big part of it, as well as agency, has I think become a pretty big word of like being agentic, taking like you're an active agent, like you're being the active rather than the passive party in life almost.
Yeah, no, and I think, I mean, because I don't listen to a lot of these guys, really, that's not like my thing, but I do think of more just like, one thing I've kind of been thinking about lately is just like, what are kind of like the positive aspects of like masculinity and things like that? Like, not just being like, okay, yeah, like kind of like what you're saying, like the don't do this, don't do that kind of thing. But what would y'all say are kind of like the positive things that it is to be a man? What does that look like? What are like the things that we should be like kind of lifting up and being like, this is what it means to be a man in a very good way?
I think the kind of, I think sticking to things, a sort of like resiliency has been like portrayed as a negative thing, but like for me, getting into like running, like I did a lot more running this summer, but I started it a year ago. And what it was for me is like a way to like prove when I was not like I was feeling everything in my body was like, stop running. It's like I didn't necessarily have to listen to that. Like I could keep moving. And I think that's a positive attribute to masculinity, is when the going gets tough, to have something outside of you that is beckoning you to keep going. That's not like an exclusively masculine thing, but it's like,
no, I think that's a lot of these things is like, you know, we've been told like, okay, you know, I think it's a lot of these things, it's like these are traits that probably come more naturally to men. It doesn't mean that women can't have them, but I think there are just certain things that are like going to be typically more, you know, you're going to see it more in men and things like that. Like, I don't know, I was talking with, like I've got a really good like female friend, and we were talking the other day, and it's just like realizing, I was talking to her about, you know, I don't treat her the same way I would treat all of my male friends. And I was like, but it'd also be weird if I did. You know, I don't think that would be respectful towards her if I treated her just like one of the other dudes.
yeah.
It doesn't mean we're dating, doesn't mean anything like that. But, you know, it's just like, I feel like there is an inherent way that we treat each other a little differently. And it's like, it's a weird, like, almost hard to like quantify and say like, okay, this is specifically what it is, but it's just kind of an inherent, and we just kind of know this thing, and I don't know, it'd be really strange, I think, and disrespectful towards her if I were to just treat her like
the bro.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, with bringing up treating women too, do you think? I mean, we feel in as Gen Z dudes that we got pushed to this: do nothing, don't do this, don't do this. But do you think there is validity to like we probably, or at least a generation before us, pushed women the opposite way, and so that's why they lashed back?
I think it's the going back to World War II.
Yeah, your favorite
Classic.
This is Noah's favorite thing to do.
Every other reference.
That I think there was something very legitimate to the the stay in the kitchen, that like the bad, like there were very bad marriages like in relationships between men and women, like coming out of like World War II. Yeah, like you have like 2 or 3 generations in a row that had like gone off to war, and you're gonna have a lot of rough edges. And I think there was a lot of like mistreatment of women, like they had to stay home and they couldn't go out and drink. I remember I was talking with my grandma this summer, because I spent the summer in Florida, and that's where she lives now. And she reflected with her mom when her dad passed away. Her mom came in to live with her, and my grandma is one of the like boomers who went out and like didn't grew up not being able to like wear like pants. Like she wasn't allowed to wear pants. Like dad was crazy strict. And so come high school, started doing the more like party stuff, hanging out, like having a boyfriend and all this stuff. And she was in her 20s or 30s when her mom was living with her now. She took her mom to a drinking establishment, as her mom called it, because my grandma's dad never let her go out and do anything. Like never could go like to a pub, never could go out and hang out with people. And so my grandma's mom would always like, can we go to the drinking establishment again? And just like, and I think that was a real thing, that men were just like locking people down. And then you have this wave of like, okay, women go do your thing, men stop doing that. And then now we're at the point where that's gone so far the other way. Man, you can't do anything. It's kind of like reversed almost. Like women go out and do everything. Like you're rocking it. Men, like, don't step out of line kind of a deal.
Well, so I think a good thing because we were bringing up what's a good thing masculinity could do. I mean, and I think anytime you're in a relationship, it's good when you're in a fight, if you can be the first person to like suck it up and not push back, like seek no vengeance. Because like we probably did at some point in history, like make women too conservative, like keep them, like suppress them too much, and now we feel suppressed. And like, so like, I guess what's a good way, or how can you even avoid as a guy like doing the lashback so that we stop being in the cycle a little bit?
Oh, so it doesn't swing back is what you're saying?
Well, because
like,
I mean, even I, like, if I'm totally honest, feel a little vengeful towards women sometimes. Like, just like, it's just, it sucks to be rejected by a girl, or it sucks when like you feel like there's this feminist thing that's being said that's so hateful to your gender, and you kind of like a little bit of you does kind of be like, oh my goodness, you need to, like, you're like, how do you basically like let go of that and like not hit back?
Yeah, I feel like it almost goes into like we're talking about what are some good things. So like, what does masculinity look like? And it's kind of going the same thing of what you were saying about like fighting for something, but I don't know, the word that just came to my mind was like sacrifice. I feel like that is like masculinity at its peak of like the classic, like you see your dad going to work every day, coming home tired, and he's still gonna go take you to ball practice, or he's not gonna lash out. It's even whenever you're feeling these feelings, choosing to say, this is the character that I want to portray, and also be an example to my son, daughter, wife, all my friends. And so like, and that I feel like it's almost good to, even though we're not in a relationship with those people or the people that are saying these words, it's almost like a practice of like, all right, this hurtful thing is getting shot at me, but I'm still going to practice of, okay, that doesn't mean that I rebound it back. And so obviously way easier said than done. But like, I don't know, really that word, I mean, and it obviously Christianity, it was like, it was saying Jesus loves what is it? He'll love the church like.
Oh,
like
that Jesus' relationship to the church is like a man's to his wife.
Yeah.
Kind of a deal. Yeah.
And obviously Jesus was the ultimate sacrifice. So it's like laying down our life for family. And I feel like sacrifice is the word for me that is like needs to be pushed more in that. the
Is
realm of
is there a way
masculinity.
to train that though? Because like you said, easier said than done. Amen. Like
Yeah,
how do you
yeah,
do it?
yeah.
You know, and so I think what we love about like Dr. K and Jordan Peterson and Andrew Huberman is like clear, simple, like actionable steps. I always think of it as exercise. Like how do I exercise sacrifice?
Yeah.
Because I really do feel like I don't know, media does kind of punch us and stuff, and so like how do you basically get the reps in of like let it go? You know?
Yeah.
I think for me, I feel like what makes it a lot easier for me, and maybe the reason I don't feel that necessarily the same way as y'all, is just like I'm just kind of like interacting with women, not
Mhm.
like on a dating level, but just kind of like as
Mhm.
friends and things like that. And so
Flirty dude.
I'm just like, I think if you're just friends with women and you don't like, I don't know, none of the women that I talk to are like, stupid man.
Mhm.
It's just like, I think if I look at things on more of like a individual, personal, one-on-one level,
Mhm.
I never really have these issues. That doesn't mean that they don't exist,
Yeah.
but like, at least for what I've seen, I've never really experienced that. And I think part of it is because, I'm actually like interacting one-on-one with women as opposed to like thinking of, oh, this is the
All the
women.
collective women out
Yeah,
there.
and it's
Yeah.
like who
That's a
even
really
is
good
that?
point.
Um,
I think that's like we just aren't in person with people
Mm.
very often anymore. That people have been pushed like to different online kind of like things, and that's kind of what I think it is. Like you take like the Fuenteses of the world, like how many people who watch him like actually interact with a woman on a daily basis?
Yeah.
It's not
Mhm.
very often. Like in high school, like I was homeschooled, so this is like somewhat like conjecture of like, but I imagine everyone's walking in the hallways. They're with their cliques and their stuff, and they're like, or they're walking down the halls with their phones, and then they see the group like of girls over there like chit chatting and laughing and giggling at each other or whatever. And it's like, what are they doing? And
Mhm.
Yeah.
I don't think there's much like actually talking to each other, communicating, interacting. And I think just in general in culture, like that's where a lot, I think, the polarization tends to come from is a lack of that
The
communication.
connection.
Well, and like I don't know if y'all feel the same way, but I feel like there's almost this sense that I feel where it's like things are almost more true if they're on the internet. I don't know. It's like it's written down somewhere, so it feels like
Oh, yeah.
I mean, like you think of like if I read it in a book versus if I read it or if you just said it. Like I'm like, oh, well, that's a written source, and I feel like that's kind of a Western culture thing of like it's written down, so it's kind of more valid. And so I think we almost do that. It's like I had a friend the other day. I was talking to him about Austin, trying to explain the culture of it, and he's like, "No, I disagree with you," and then looks it up. He lives in Arkansas. He doesn't live here, but he's we trust the internet more than we do trust each other almost at this point. So it's like I think that's also a weird dynamic is like we let like the internet and like the media and all these things kind of control how we feel about things, and it's not like none of that's valid. It's not like there's not other people on the side of these screens.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think, like, I mean, I see this in myself. Like, I'm, wondering questions about like things, and so I'm like Googling things or, things like that. It's like I don't know. I don't know when that happened, but I
Yeah.
feel like that's and maybe that is like we just kind of always trusted books, and now that version is just on the internet. But
I think it's an authority kind of thing. It's like
Mhm.
you would tend to trust the authority, like,
Mm.
and there's at least an appearance of authority. I think there's JJ's out there producing. Do you remember the was it Luke that was in here podcasting when he had said like 60%, like if you say something with 60% confidence, and then his wife was like the only one who could like, are you actually sure about that? And I think it's like there is a lot of this kind of posturing. If you like look very confident while you're saying it, and you say it like looking straight into the camera, right into your eyes, like, and there's an intensity to it. It's like our natural bent is to kind of trust that. Like if you look confident, it's like, oh, he might know something. And I think there's something to the written thing too. It's like, oh, someone wrote it down. And
well, like I think that's kind of I don't know how sure I am on this, but I would say like kind of that's a Western culture thing because I've heard of like in Islam and things like that, like they didn't even write the Quran down for a very long time. It was all about oh, I need to hear it spoken, and I trust the person who said it, and so I trust the spoken word. But I guess maybe in like a kind of Christian Western society kind of thing, maybe we have the Bible, and that's kind of been our authority for a while, and so maybe it is like that we just value written word, and like maybe not that written words aren't important, but maybe we overvalue that in the sense that we've now let that translate to the internet, where just literally anyone can say anything on Reddit, you know?
So to push things to bring it back to the coherent thread.
yeah.
So we got pushed to the edge. We probably pushed, like, women were pushed to the edge originally. We're pushing each other back. We like guys who like give us goals and like help us improve and grow. How do we get, like, what's like the ideal form of masculinity? Like, what's the ideal goal to work towards? Being the kind of guy who takes the punch, sacrifices himself. How do you get reps in? You said to hang out with girls, basically, which is good. You know, just like have the natural connection. You know,
Yeah.
like and what you'll realize from that is kind of that they're not the ones. You know, they don't feel this way. They're not the one throwing the punches, and maybe we're giving too much credit to like all the social media and stuff because historically, religious texts, authority figures are where we get that from. Is that a fair?
Yeah,
That's a pretty good
yeah.
summary.
Yeah.
Call him ChatGPT or Google AI summary. I mean,
Great summarizer.
yeah, he's good. He's good at this.
That is a good point too. Of like the volume should not equate to the validity of something. Like, and that's what I feel like is almost summarizes social media,
it.
which is just yeah, here's your TikTok. But it's like that is like something. It's like this is obviously it's real. Someone made it, but just like the sheer amount of views or the amount of times it's being fed to us, even like your example of high school clicks, it's like it's almost like that in algorithms. Like what if you're watching this, is going to show you this and won't show you the opposite point of view. So it's just this endless feedback loop, and that's what your world is. And I feel like it's almost like in that same great example of the clicks, it's like your perception of like the people laughing and snickering across the hall, your interpretation of that is what is kind of like already in. It's kind of what you want the interpretation to be.
Yeah.
It could be not about you at all, but like the bias of they're like your assumptions.
They're thinking about me. Yeah. And
So you make that's the truth in your world, which I feel like goes into how do we get out of that? And I feel like it's the awareness of, again, like things online aren't like, how many times in person is this actually getting said to you like, hey, you're a man, you shouldn't do that, but maybe for some of us.
No, but like if someone actually did do that in public too, that's another side of social media. Like they'd be so weird if they actually did that in public. It'd be so uncomfortable, and you'd be like, they probably don't have that many friends. They probably shouldn't really care. I think social media does tend to reward, though, like saying extreme things really loudly. So not just like volume, but also just like the sheer audacity of this statement draws attention. And that's, I mean, the algorithm rewards views, not necessarily like the way you feel about the views being good, which is definitely unhealthy. And I think, you know, with you bringing up social media too, one good thing we can do as guys is like, as much as we can, slow down the power of social media and like not let it affect us, because it's this huge thing that has never existed and is like so widespread. And like you spend more time on social media than you do talking to your parents or your family or your friends a lot of the time. And that's most people. And so it's like, that clearly is something that could have less power, and I would be totally okay with that. You know?
Which is weird because we all kind of like
We all want to work in social media.
exactly.
But like, okay, so then as people who want to work in social media, like how can we work in it towards it being something where it's less powerful? Or like, is there a way to do that, or are we all in cognitive dissonance?
No,
And
I think that maybe it's just I'm trying to confirm that no, you're not contributing to it. But I feel like it's like, if obviously it's the intention, but it's like, all right, if people are already going to be on it, what can I add to it that is what I would want to see that would like improve? And I don't know, like for me, like for example, I've tried to stay away from short form. Like and it's like, all right, if I'm so against that, I mean, it's not fully wrong, but it's like, all right, if I stand against this, should I put even if it's good stuff, should I put this format out if I don't agree with it? And it's like, again, it's not like short form is sin, but like, I don't know. It's like, I think keeping your viewer in mind for their best interest is important.
No, like I almost feel like there's this sense where like I have to feel like I'm making something good for the world if I do put it out on short form content, because like I just feel icky about the whole thing. And like I have a shirt that says make video vertical, or not vertical, sorry, I have a shirt that says "Make video horizontal again."
Uh-huh.
And I'm just like, and then Cam over here has got me, all excited about this short form series I'm doing. But I think it's good. I think that's the thing though, is I feel like with a short form video, I have to be extra careful of like, am I actually adding value to the world? So for me, like, it doesn't have to be crazy. It's not like, oh my gosh, I'm changing the world or anything. But like, like I'm going to do a series where I'm like kind of going around at coffee shops in Austin or, just kind of exploring. And I'm like, okay, well, doing this is hopefully going to encourage people to go out and like be more social and do something like that. So I feel like maybe that is cognitive dissonance or whatever. But I mean, I feel like that's kind of my thing, is I have to find like some kind of good, valid use of this, or else I'm just kind of wasting people's time. So I forget which one of you said it, but just like, keeping the viewer in mind and really trying to like care for them.
Yeah, and I
Good job,
think that
Trip.
was I wanted to connect that point that Trip made earlier of sacrifice, and then like the click idea of looking like, oh, they're thinking about me. And I think like sacrifice, and then the thinking about like what others are thinking about me. It's this kind of focus on the self rather than what you're talking about. There's like, how can we, like, how am I, like, you could look at short forms like, how can I get the most views, I can get the most money, or you can say, how am I going to try to help keep the viewer in mind? And I think that's the sacrifice thing, is you're trading one thing for another. You're trading the potential, like, well, maybe that's not the best way to put it. You're trying to, I think it's a going beyond yourself. That's what kind of sacrifice is. Like, I think of the Cain and Abel story, is that I think it was, Cain killed Abel. Abel sacrificed his best thing. He did his best for something beyond himself. And Cain, trying to protect himself, kept his best for himself and sacrificed little stuff. And that backfired, and it like creates envy and whatnot. And I think that's kind of the image, is like, we need to sacrifice like what would make us more comfortable, more safe, like survival for thriving. You're trying to help other people thrive rather than you survive. And I think that's that sacrificial thing. That's what masculinity, I think, is at its best.
And like, I feel like the example that keeps on coming to my head, and like Cameron was talking earlier about like looking for an example of this, which is like, we're all a little bit a ways off from this, but I feel like fatherhood is like I wish like we would kind of present that more highly as what masculinity looks like. I feel like we think of it as like, I don't know, this dude who's out here like, getting all the girls. Yeah, like Rocky, he's got all the girls. He's, super muscular, drinks a lot. That's like, I think what we think of masculinity sometimes. Whereas I feel like I wish it was more like, a father who, maybe he isn't like the most muscular dude or ever. I mean, it'd be good, go get your gains. But like, I think that is what I wish we would think more of masculinity as, like somebody like Tripp was saying, who is sacrificing for others. And I feel like that's what I want to think of. Like when I think of like being a man, I think fatherhood's like a big. And
I like the word father, because like our word is dad. And dad, like, you got like, oh, he's got the dad fit on right now. It's like you got like, dad conjures up a little bit more of like a goofy image of a guy with sandals on, his cargo shorts and his polo and his hat, like at the grill with a fanny pack, like something like that. But I think father is something much more like sturdy, strong, like grounded. I do. I thought about making like a YouTube video along the lines of like, I had some like catchy, like controversial title for it, of like, we need to get rid of dad or something like that. It's like, use father instead. It's going to be the tone. But I do like that as a positive image.
Well, it's good too, because it connects to our social media idea. Like, volume and audacity is what gives it authority with social media. And being like that kind of father figure who's like quiet behind the scenes, goes to work, works hard for his kids, comes back, smiles, plays catch with them, doesn't take work home. It's like, that has neither volume nor audacity. He's not going out there, and he's not going to tell anyone about it. And it's the least audacious, statement of a life that it could be. And so maybe like a good way, so this brings in the urine idea that I was bringing up earlier.
Yeah, so explain this to us.
Well, so it's going to take a second to get there. So I think one thing, this is a powerful thing that I think females get to do, is they get to like pick what kind of guy should be more. Like, that's just, they get to pick the dude, right? Like, girls have all these options and they get to pick which guy. gets married and gets to have kids and all that. That's just what girls get to pick a little bit. And so what seems to be happening with the yearn whatever thing that I see,
Oh yes.
and I'm gonna misunderstand because I just seen it recently on like dating profiles and stuff. Is like apparently girls are sick of the guys who are like nonchalant and are just like, oh yeah, whatever, and like are quiet and aren't gonna say how they feel and are super like stoic and mysterious. And they want a guy who's like more vocal about his feelings and stuff like that, but also isn't quite like a soy boy who's like, just like, or like a simp who's just like, oh, I adore you, I love you so much. It's almost like this restrained desire. Like it's like I want you so bad, but I'm not gonna like make myself a loser. Like I'm gonna do the right thing. It's like I'm basically like
A
almost
little bit
like,
of boundaries. Yeah.
boundaries, but being like a secret warrior almost. Like you'll go out of your way to like do that thing to make her day better, even if she'll like never notice or whatever, or like you'll want her so bad, but that it'll like cause you like pain, but you're not gonna like need her to see that kind of a thing. And so I feel like that's actually something I'm hopeful that the like females are like rewarding more, is like that kind of, because that is the kind of masculinity we want, is like dads who are like working quietly behind the scenes, like almost like yearning to be a good dad for their family or whatever. I'm gonna get destroyed for that if anyone ever sees this, but if that makes sense. Yeah,
Girls aren't gonna watch this.
Probably not. We're on the wrong side of the internet.
Thank goodness for that.
I'll put all my time and effort into making the TikTok of this podcast go.
I'm gonna do some dances, guys.
Sorry, that's my one TikTok dance I've got. I probably did it wrong too, and I hit the mic. Sorry, JJ.
Do we need to swing into the relationship, the dating and relationship side of things?
I would say one thing
Go
for this is, so we talked about the good and where we want to go, and I mean, obviously we talked about not focusing on the negatives, but I don't know. I feel strongly like if we're, because like I feel like for a lot of us, a massive turning point. Like, it's almost like, yeah, we've had like several, but at least for me, like around the 15-year-old age is whenever you're like, all right, I'm not a boy. I'm slowly turning into a man. Obviously, you're not a man. Like, who knows if I am now? Like, hopefully, that's obviously my goal, to be a man and a father and all that stuff.
Good luck.
But it's like, that's whenever. Got a long ways to go, fella. But it's like that's whenever it's like, here's the starting line, probably around 15. And then you're getting fed all this content, like we talked about, and we talked about the good from it, but like, what would you be wary of as 15-year-old sitting on TikTok? And then, I mean, it hypes you up. The edits that you see of masculinity is like, let's go. I'm gonna do all this stuff, and some of it is good, but what would you be wary of like, all right, we're pushing this, but this has the illusion of masculinity, but by what we're trying to define it as, that I would throw that out. What would y'all stay away from?
Well, I would probably be a little bit more like, I think that puts a very large amount of like conscience agency on 15-year-olds, when it's like when I think about when I was 15, like 15-year-old boys are probably like the least like forward thinking like creatures out there. And I think that like that's where we need more like just male role models. Like that's where, like, the reason why a kid is going to TikTok to find Andrew Tate talk about getting the gym and go do whatever to girls, like, it's because there isn't someone stable in his life like right there next to him doing things. And the data like tends to back that up. Like, the average marriage is like a 50% shot to end in divorce. Like, so there just aren't fathers in the picture. But then like there are fewer like other just men around anyways. Like, you've got like coaches. There aren't hardly many male teachers. And then it's like, what else do you have? Like, most families don't live very close, so you don't necessarily have uncles, older cousins. Older brothers are in like different classes and grades than you, so you don't even have like, if your brother's 5 years older, you're never gonna be in a classroom with him. You're gonna be so like, it's just like stick you with a bunch of other people like you that are also not having role models, and then just give them the internet to find all those role models.
Yeah, no, and I think like for myself, like one of the biggest things that helped me grow like as a Christian and as like a man, like when I was, I guess, around 15 or so, is like I had a a youth pastor that like really, you know, did care about me, and like, you know, I really got to know him well, and he was like a mentor to me. And I feel like that's super important. I mean, I think at all ages, I think we all need like mentors, and I wish I had, you know, that like right in my life right now. But, you know, I know that for me, there was like a time between like, you know, you're kind of coming out of being a boy, and like, you don't want to like I have a great father, like, you know, love him to death. But it was just like at that time, I was like, I need someone who's not my dad to tell me like things. Like I don't want to listen to him because I'm trying to become my own person. And so I think, while yes, like we need like dads who are in the picture and things like that, I also think that like young men, young boys need like people to that are not they're not their dad to really like kind of be there for them. And I think for me, that was my youth pastor. I don't know what that looks like for everyone else, but I think that is really, really key.
I think it takes a tribe to raise a boy, which, like, for most of human history, that was how things worked. Like, everyone lived in the same kind of, even if it was a village in Europe in like 1376, it was just like you were in the same village that your parents were, and you've got uncles, and you've got all this stuff, and you just had that there. And now we don't have that extra web of men to take you to the secret watering hole or the secret like creek that you could go and scale this creek or climb this tree or whatever, this tree that everyone who had, when they hit 16, was supposed to go climb this tree, like whatever.
Yeah.
It's like I see Tripp smile. It's like, that would be cool. Like,
I love trees.
No, he's a great. That was
I'm a climber.
terrifying. He's a climber. But that's also, I mean, so we talked about volume and audacity for social media. Like Joe Rogan, Jordan Peterson, Andrew Huberman, they have like Chris Williamson, like volume, and like their statements aren't really that audacious a lot of the time. I think maybe partly why they're so big is because they're providing that for society, a little bit of a tribe. Like Chris Williamson, we said, is like the brother, Jordan Peterson's like the father, Joe Rogan's like the fun uncle. Like they're that part of the tribe a little bit. And they're definitely lifted up by guys, you know, like all of them are. Clearly, that's their main demographic.
Yeah, and like Chris Williamson was one of those guys for me around like 20 years old when I was like halfway through college. Like, what am I actually like trying to do with my life? How can I like actually go for something? And Chris Williamson was a figure that was doing a lot of that, like talking about how do you get the best out of your workouts? How do you get the best out of like out of just friendships and relationships, and like just talking about interesting ideas with interesting people. And like that was just a life that I wanted to, it was a model for me of someone who's interested in different things, who takes their health seriously, who wants to improve themselves both intellectually, spiritually, morally, like physically. And like it was big for me. Like I had my dad growing up was always around, but he was at work before we got up, and he got back like 2 hours before we went to bed, or maybe we had like baseball practice, and it's just like that's not as present. And I think that stuck out big to me. Like that's a big reason why I'm sitting in this chair now, is because of people like Chris Williamson, who were like was a voice for me, was a role model for me, and for a lot of other people.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Dope.
Alrighty, do we switch to relationships now?
What's our time looking like? That's
we've got like 50 minutes until noon. So
cool.
Yeah,
Cool.
that's good.
yeah.
Let's get it.
All right, you were talking about yearning. What's the dating app scene then?
Oh, no. I'm not on dating app. It's been like 3 weeks of dating apps, but I guess that it's interesting to talk about. I feel like it's definitely reminded me that like the ideal way to find a relationship is kind of what you described, which, I mean, well, I'll throw it back to you in a sec because you can explain the whole thing. But like, I just absolutely hate the numbers game. Kedrick sitting out there, our other roommate, he brings up all the time. Like, I'll like say something about social media. I'm like, look at all these likes or all these matches. He's like, well, you just need to play the numbers game. And I'm just like, oh, dude, I want to die when he says that.
Like
I
Alex Hormozy on dating. Like the more cold reach outs you get,
dude.
like, awesome. One
We
of
need
them
to door knock 7 days a week.
And he's like, he keeps saying like you depreciate your your words value. Like when you're telling these girls you're interested in them, and if you're telling 4 different girls, your interest doesn't mean as much as if there's only one girl you're really interested in. And so that's all I have to say. Yeah, but what you described, what's your thing about you have the whole thing about like how you want to go find a girl. And that's also where I'm at. Like I feel like he's where I used to be growing up, and now that I'm older, I kind of gave up a little bit. But now after trying the dating apps, I'm like, yeah, I want to do this again.
I guess my approach, which I've been, I guess I really didn't know that there was another approach. I did, but I've been introduced to it, and it's made me realize that there are several game plans. But my idea has always been, instead of like the casual date, which again is nothing right or wrong, but like I've always thought like, I feel like my I don't know, my gauge is pretty, like, I know pretty quick. Like you can say one thing or whatever. Like obviously it's not, there's certain things that are just like instant make or breaks. Like I hear you talking that you do this or that. It's like, all right, like I'm not like trying to just be like, you're a terrible person, I hate you. But it's like, for a long-term relationship, unless something changes, it's probably not gonna work. And so almost, instead of like just seeing a girl that looks cute and like maybe has somewhat of a personality, I feel like I've almost like, and this is nothing new and crazy, but it's almost just like kind of scope them out for longer than necessarily instantly going like, hey, would you like to go on a date? At least for me, I feel like it's kind of gauging and like kind of, it's just like a testing period of like hanging out, maybe a lot of times in like in group settings, like at church or at whatever, like pickleball or something, I don't know. And then it's like
pickleball capital of the world here.
I guess for me, it's seeing how they conduct themselves and how they react in certain situations without having to, even though going on a date isn't a label, it's like, I mean, we've talked about like the word date is like, oh, now that we said this, like getting, like if this doesn't work, it feels worse than if we would have just hung out.
Yeah, exactly. No, like I'm almost like I'm thinking about, asking someone out, and it's just like, do I actually use the word date, or can I just kind of call this like, let's go get coffee? Because I feel like it just makes it a little easier. Yeah, like you
It's
said,
lower stakes.
lower stakes. But no, yeah.
To put an analogy, though, what I think dating apps versus his description is I'm going out to the field with a shotgun and shooting at geese, and he's like slow. Like the better is to like kind of like slowly pursue just one thing, like a deer or something, like in the forest, and like
Lining up the
and then
shot.
kill it. But like like actually like scope it out, and like it's just more methodical and intentional, and seems more valuable.
Yeah. But even in that, it's almost like I am doing the buckshot spread, because it's like, instead of going, here's a clip. Instead of going for one date, I'm going for everybody. It's almost like I'm already, it's like, obviously you slowly hone in on the biggest deer, but it's like in the middle of this group setting or community, I'm already assessing all of them. And like I said, instantly you're like, all right, these guys, they're out of here. Like it's instantly like, I know that they're not. So you have, I don't know. It's almost, I don't know. I feel like the one on, like the speed dating of like, no, like just constantly rotating. It's like, that does feel like a numbers game, and you just have to get lucky. It's like, instead of like putting that much time, effort, and money into all those dates, I would just be like, unless someone fully stands out. I feel like if your wife doesn't stand out to you, like if it's not like the yearning word, it's like, if this doesn't like bother you to not pursue this, or like, I feel like that it shouldn't be, shouldn't go with that.
I think, yeah, there's probably some wisdom in that. I feel like, I don't know, I feel like I would just feel like I was making zero progress. And I think, I forget, I just talk to y'all a lot, so I forget who I've said this to. I maybe said it all to y'all. But just like, I felt like for me, part of the reason, I was like on like a Christian dating app for a minute. And I think, I don't know, it just felt like I needed to feel like I was making some sort of progress towards the goal of like dating someone and hopefully getting married someday. And it's just like, okay, there was no one in my real world life, so like, let's try something. I just need to felt like I'm doing something to progress towards this goal. And so I don't know, like I think I just know myself, and like if I was just like, oh man, I've got to wait for this person to like be absolutely perfect, and they just come by and like I have this great feeling, like, I don't know, those people don't come around too often. But
so does your wife doesn't come around.
That's a good point, though. I only need one.
That's my take.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's some.
It's like it hasn't happened because it hasn't happened. Like you haven't felt that feeling because she hasn't come across yet.
Yeah, I think Though, like, I know for myself, so I was in a relationship for around 2 years, and I think part of the reason I was like didn't end up, we ended up breaking up and kind of, I don't know. I think part of it was I had never dated anyone else, and so I don't even know what other people are like really. And so I think there's like kind of something I'm kind of trying is just like not like let's just go out with everyone kind of thing, but I do think there's some validity in being like let's go on a date and just not make it a super big deal.
Yeah.
And just kind of get to know somebody like in person rather than, just like through an app or things like that. And I also know myself, it's like I can get, if I spend so long with a woman, I just become really great friends. And then I get really like scared because I'm like, crap, she's a good friend. I don't want to like screw up this friendship. And so then I just end up, never asking her out.
But
yeah.
maybe if it's your wife though, there's been girls where we do hang out a lot and we become really good like friends, but it's more than that. Like I would die if it would just stay a friendship thing, and I would gladly risk the relationship. I'd risk everything for the chance of it becoming the wife.
Yeah.
And it'd be like it suck and it hurt. And so I'd argue those girls you were just friends with they were just friends. You know, and like so if you didn't want to take the risk, they definitely weren't your wife.
Yeah. I don't know.
And I think there's to your point there of like I think the like relationship advice online for men tends to be like kind of like know what you want. Like that's kind of like know what you want and go get it is just kind of like a big part of life. Like for work, like know what you like, find out the thing you want and then just like that's kind of the Hormozy thing. It's like you know what you want and then just like go for it.
Yeah.
And I think to your point, it's like oftentimes like we're all in our low 20s except for Cameron.
Okay, mid 25. You're a bunch of babies.
And there is something to that, like we just haven't been around many people, and I think that's something I'm trying to learn about. Like we're in Austin, it's a big city, a lot of young people, and it's like going on multiple dates with different people. There's something to just learning how you interact with a bunch of different people that's like really beneficial.
And I'm gonna be honest, it's just kind of it's fun to go on a date.
Yeah.
Like it's just kind of fun. Like I talk to the boys about it. Like
Yeah,
it's a good time.
it
I have a
is.
good time.
Everyone gets hyped up for you. It's
Yeah,
like, let's go.
I think there's a way to make it like a good mutually beneficial thing for everybody. I think I would say I like Christian, love Christian people, but I think sometimes we're almost too weird about dating culture.
For sure.
Yeah.
Especially because
So
like we
bad.
want to meet people in church, and so it is awkward, of course, when like okay, it didn't work out with that person. But I think we've been told like our whole lives, date to marry, date to marry, date to marry, date to marry. Like you've heard that. Like I mean, I've heard that since I was,
Me too.
yeah, like since birth basically. And so I know for myself, and like so I have OCD, and like I'll freak out about things, but it's like oh shoot, okay, so I don't know if I want to marry this girl, so like I shouldn't even go on a date with her. And it's like whoa, like how am I supposed to figure that out if
Yeah.
I never go on that date? Now this is probably a little hypocritical because I'm still doing this in the back of my head.
Mm.
And I think there is value in being like, okay, I need to know, like, obviously if I don't see there's a chance, but I think for me, I want to be a little bit more like, okay, maybe I haven't fully figured this out, but it's at least worth grabbing coffee one time. You don't even have to call it a date, but y'all can be smart and figure that part out. I don't know. It's kind of where I'm at right now.
There is very much a big thing, like the whole, like I remember like there were the jokes about like premarital hand holding and all this stuff, and like there is like it's been treated weird. Like there's such like a stereotype of like, oh, if you're not dating to marry, you're like, oh, hooking up with every girl you see, and that was like the stereotype. Like guys can't take control of themselves. It's like you gotta like. It's the whole bounce your eyes thing. It's like men are just gonna go crazy, so you need to like date for marriage. And it's like, but there is something that is just like, it's fun, it's low stakes, it's relaxing. You're just getting to know people.
Yeah. And I think it's a weird thing. I feel like we've almost like, you think of like being this kind of Christian date to marry thing. I feel like we act like this is like a traditional almost value. But I feel like if I talk to like older people, like I'm getting a lot of this advice from my parents and they're like, no, that's weird. Like, why would that be the thing? And so I almost feel like it's something kind of newer in the last like 20 years or so. I mean, you think of people in the 50s, right? I mean, I don't imagine that every time that, I don't know, you think back to the movies, maybe this is a bad example, but it's like, they would go on a date. It wouldn't be a crazy big deal. It's just like, this is kind of fun. I'm getting to know somebody, and I think that's a good thing of just
Mhm.
being like, you know, I just want it to feel low stakes. Not that there's not an intention of going somewhere. Like obviously you want that. If you think there's no chance, I wouldn't say go for that. But I feel like we used to have that kind of sense of like it's just a date. Let's just have a good time.
Yeah.
We're not like we're not thinking of marriage on the first date kind of thing.
Yeah. I think there's like the word date is hard because there's two meanings, and it's like I agree with y'all on like the date, like going on a date, like we're gonna
date.
we're going to visit a coffee shop. We're gonna play laser tag and have fun. It's like I'm not gonna find my wife playing laser tag, but like on the other hand, I would say like as far as whenever we get to dating as an actual exclusive relationship, I see the benefit of not getting into that. Obviously, still you don't have to like. It's dating for a reason, not engagement. Like you're still trying to figure out. But I feel like I see some value in. All right, when we get to the point of making it exclusive and saying like we are working. In my case, I would say like the value of working towards marriage in that. And like obviously, again, it's still the testing period. You haven't known this person for long. You haven't seen them in many different scenarios and circumstances. But it's like, go on. You can go on these dates and these one-offs. But whenever it's time to like not settle down, but like whenever you're like, all right, I really like this person. I think our values align now. Like to pursue that, I would say, unless you see yourself marrying them, it would almost be a waste of time for both. And even just the emotional roller coaster is just in the end not worth it if you don't. And I think we're all agreeing on that.
No, I like though that you point out like it's a weird thing that like we almost use the same word for both because those should be two totally separate things of like a date versus I am dating you. We are in an exclusive relationship. That's like those are two very different things. And I think we like, but they're the same word. Yeah. And so it's like really confusing. And I think, like that's the thing I'm scared of is like if I want to ask a girl out and just like, get to know her. That's what I'm trying to do is get to know her. But I feel like what's going to be interpreted sometimes is, oh, I think that you should be my girlfriend. And I'm like, that's not where we're at yet. I just want to go on a date and just both of us mutually figuring out if this is something we want to go for or not.
You seem to be pondering over there, Cameron.
Well, yeah, I'm
yearning
tired. I'm yearning. Yearning for a nap. No, I was trying to think how to like summarize, or not summarize, but like at least draw the thread through all of our thoughts on dating. Because it sounds like what we're saying is the low stakes thing about dating is important, but there's what people tend to be doing now through what dating apps and social media allow, which is, the buckshot, like the numbers game, especially even like not just dating apps like Instagram, like DMing girls and stuff like that. And then there's your approach, which is be in a group, have everyone as an option, but ultimately like hone things down really quickly to just being one option, just go all in on that, which seems ideal. And then the dating thing, I'm not sure. The dating thing, like being lower stakes, I'm not sure how that fits in. But I guess I did think maybe that's part of Austin's success with the dating is like run clubs. And like even like the fitness group we saw, that's not a run club. Or like the gyms that I see, there's all like these events almost. And like
pickleball, like singles, socials. Yeah.
And that allows for your kind of version of dating, which is a lot more, casual. Like it's still got the casual elements you want, but it still allows for the intentionality and maybe like the yearning.
Because you're almost already on the date. Like you're already on the casual date in those scenarios.
So and also two-stepping and salsa.
Yeah.
So we just need to be better about supporting those kind of things.
Yes.
Yeah, I canceled it the last 2 times, so that's super on me. And I'm also the guy who was like, "We should do this,"
and he wonders why he's single.
So it's the single guy and a group of single guys.
Yeah, I mean, like, also, maybe take our advice with a grain of salt. All of us, so
coaches don't play.
Well, we should ask Noah about his dating experience since he moved to Austin, because he was not around any girls. And then the second you got to Austin, bam, girl. I'm
just a player over here.
Y'all can't see, but the studio is just full of women in a single file line.
We're talking about you, Kedrick. But I think that it's like that is the good thing with Austin is that there's a lot of that opportunity for this organic kind of stuff. Is like I met one girl through like like I think it was a social after this event that I went on a couple days with her. It didn't end up working out, and like I think that's how like it is. There's the optimal situation of you're in just social gatherings with people. Like churches have been that for a long time, and I think they are for us. But then you have fitness groups, you've got pickleball clubs, you've got run clubs, and all this stuff. And I think that like Austin does a great job with it. There's coffee shops in every corner. It's like, hey, you want to run down to this coffee shop? Or there's like pretty cool casual bars and pubs and stuff.
Yep.
You just go grab a beer. Like there's a lot of really cool things with that. And I think like the architecture of a city can really help or hurt that.
I love that you brought it there. That's what I wanted to go there, but I was like, I don't know, but I love this.
Yeah,
go in on that, man.
Yeah, because like I grew up in the suburbs. Like there's like you got to drive 10-15 minutes to get to the chain froyo place.
Get to your mailbox.
To get to to get to a chain froyo place, to get to the drive-through 7 Brew coffee place, to get to the mediocre like local chain restaurant. It's like there isn't anything kind of set up for that sort of. It's very like for people who have families already. It's like you go out, you take your kids there. It's like, oh, you go to the putt that's like for 5-year-olds and all this stuff.
Well, and I think like I don't know. I grew up in a suburb. I feel like had some like kind of cool stuff going on. But I think the biggest thing for me is like the events. You know, it's like like I feel like that's such a sad thing for adults is that we don't get clubs. Like I feel like I was always so involved in clubs in high school and college, and so it's just like you kind of get out to the adult world and there's like not clubs anymore. But then, which I think are so needed for like a good way to meet people, especially for people who aren't in church. Like they need a social group, and so like I think it's especially like moving to a new city. It's like how do you meet people? So I think those are really really good, and I think Austin has a lot of that. That's a big part of it.
And again, on the infrastructure, I feel like it really does foster and like set the tone for community because it's like what we're saying. It's like this might be even though it's different. It's like the difference how we talked earlier about like the tribe raising the child rather than whatever. It's like obviously in these planned communities with thousands of houses that look the same, all that stuff. Like you might know left and right neighbors and maybe the one in the back, but that's it. And it's like how often you're really interacting with them. But like I've talked before about like the third place. Everybody needs to have like you have work and home as 2, and then your third place needs to be like your extracurricular park, coffee shop. And that's really what I love about cities, and especially Austin, is so many third places and the chance for random interactions. And I feel like it helps the proximity that you have with people at all the time. I feel like it's either going to bring the best or worst out of you, but even if say you're not a people person, it brings like, oh my gosh, and now like having the awareness to be like, man, I also now have chances to improve. Because if you're already not liking people and you live in a place where you don't have to see people, it's like you're just never gonna get better. And that's what I really like about Austin too.
We need to pick our third place. I'd still vote for the white horse, but get some dancing in.
And pretty close to here.
A tangent I would say is here's a clickbaity. AirPods are losing you friends. I would say the people that are walking around with AirPods, you're completely I know, but like I feel like that's so interesting. And today you're completely just nuking everyone around you, and then you're in your own world. And it's like, all right, it is pretty cool to be able to just pretend like you're in a main character in a movie. But
Hey Siri,
it's like,
play music so I don't have to listen to threat.
But you're on the bus or the train. I feel like the beauty of humanity and connection really is those 5-minute relationships. Those like, dude, I met this really cool guy on the train. Not really commuted on the train, but let's pretend. Like, stuff like that. It's like those are almost like oh my gosh, this fully wraps back. It's like that's where it's like, oh, what they're saying on social media is not like there are good people out there in the world, and they're like everybody's not trying to shank me. Like they're like you can have cool, genuine interactions, and it's like, oh, people aren't just crazy on the internet, and that's what why AirPods are killing society as we know it.
Yeah. Well, that makes me think of Cole. Like
That's
yeah. Me and one of my buddies went to Chris Williamson's live show a couple weeks ago, and we were in line at Chick-fil-A right afterwards because my buddy was starving. We were talking about the show, and there was this guy in front of us, and he didn't have to do this, but he heard us talking about the show, and he had just been to the show. He's like, "Did you guys just go to the Chris Williamson show?" He was like, "Yeah, how long have you been listening to him?" And he was at the front line, like, "Go sit down, and we'll find you afterwards." And we ended up having like a 2-hour conversation. Then he comes and hangs out for a day and a half. And
Yeah, he just like, I just woke up and like there was just a dude in our house. I was like, oh, okay, cool.
Checked your phone. You were like, oh, I did get a warning. Okay.
Yeah, okay, cool.
But that's like one of those things. Of like, we didn't go to this public event and didn't talk to someone in line at a Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
Like, that crazy, awesome, once in a lifetime side quest thing would never have happened.
Well, and I think, like, I kind of going back to like how the cities are designed. I think like maybe not citywide design, but like even in a place, like I feel like the design actually impacts so much how you talk to people.
Yeah.
Like, you know, if we were back in COVID times and you had to keep 6 feet social distance, you wouldn't have had that conversation with him. And like, so like I'm doing a series where I'm like gonna go around and like review different coffee shops. And one of my favorite things always to see is like bar seating in a coffee shop, because I feel like, you know, if I'm sitting at a table, especially a table that's like further away from people, okay, like I'm locked in, I've got the AirPods on, sorry Trip, you know, I'm getting my work done, you know, I'm just locked in. But if like, let's say I'm sitting at a bar, you know, that kind of signals to people, okay, I don't have my laptop out, like I'm open to talking.
Yeah.
And I think that's really cool. There's one coffee shop not too far from here where it's like they have a bar, and then the bar is basically like in the kitchen of the coffee shop. And I love it so much because like every time I go in there, it's terrible for my working, but I can't go in there without having a cool conversation with somebody. Like there was this dude who sat down at like the table next to me, or like it's a bar / table, because like one side of the table is in the kitchen, the other side is like kind of out. It's just one table pretty much for the whole coffee shop kind of feel. But like he's wearing a cowboy hat. And then he starts talking to me about his drawings, and he's like 70. He's like, I'm like, how long have you lived here? He's like, oh yeah, like, you know, like 65 years, whatever, you know. I'm like, oh my gosh, you are a true Austin Texan. Like, you have the cowboy hat on, and you're drawing things. Like, I freaking love this guy.
Wait, why is drawing things awesome?
Because you're artistic.
Oh,
like, it's an
okay.
artistic
Creative,
city.
yeah.
That's fair. That's valid.
Like, you know, you don't think of most cowboys as like pulling up art on his iPhone. Like, look at the art I made. Like, but he's got a freaking cowboy hat on, and he's not like, you know, somebody coming in here for like a bachelorette party kind of situation. Like, he's legit. And I freaking love that guy. So
Shout out that guy.
shout out that guy. I don't know his name, but he was cool.
But that is a really good point with like bar seating, or even like an old school diner where you've got like that kind of looped around continuous bar around where you're sitting across from, like the waitress can come in, grab your stuff, and then there's a guy sitting right across from you. It's like, there's this little donut shop back in Lafayette. Whenever my grandpa would come visit for Christmas, we would always pick like a day of the week to just like get up early and go grab donuts to surprise everyone else when they wake up. And we would always sit down. It's got this little circle bar. You get your coffee, eat one of the donuts out of the dozen, and you're sitting there. It's just like the kind of like nostalgic good old days of the old dudes in the diner. They've got their spot. It's their third spot.
Yeah.
And it's like they go there every Saturday for brunch, and they complain about the politicians and the weather, and they're just happy. And there's very much something to like the style of restaurant that has that, and the kind of culture, and we don't.
Yeah.
Our generation hasn't really had that kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's similar to like the you know, masculinity got pushed down, we're fighting back. I think social media, contrary to the name, actually makes people very antisocial.
Yeah.
And so, and even if you are being social, like you could argue for the keeping in touch with all your old friends and stuff, it's like, well, you're only being social with people from your age group that your algorithm is pushing to you. You know, you got to pick your clique and your echo chamber. And so I think we're definitely going to see, and maybe Austin's the best example of that, the pushback on the antisocial, where it's like all of these great third spots, all of these great group hangouts, and that's a huge win.
I will also say, I think it's a little hypocritical for us to all hate on social media when like that's literally how besides me and Cam met in person.
We all met over.
We
We're
all met in
legit. We're legit.
Yeah, we're legit. But everyone else,
You're all fake.
no, but like we met y'all through like a Facebook group,
Yep.
you know, looking for roommates in Austin. So it's not like there's no benefit. It's not like you can't ever.
For sure.
And I think for me, like when I try to ask a girl out or something like that, that's always like my go-to as like, you know, follow her on. I meet her in person and then follow her on Instagram afterwards. I feel like it's not like there's never any good social interaction that can come from it. But I do agree, like by and large, it can just kind of make us more antisocial.
Yeah, it's more like the name of the game, understanding what this big, powerful tidal wave has done and like how to surf the wave and not get crushed in it, or also just like get the benefits out of the movement and not the bad parts a little bit. Because the message board was great. We literally had like 16 applicants in a week. You know, it was like, wow, we get a pick. Thank goodness.
Yeah.
We're not stuck with some rando.
Like Trip. Nah, I'm just kidding. Trip was the guy we picked.
No,
he's
but
cool.
you guys are definitely opening my eyes. I'm like, you three all have done way better than I have about that. Like, just like, because you met Cole, you met Jenny, you met this Catholic church people, you meeting people all the time at coffee shops. You meet Emilio and Clara. Emilio.
At a park,
At a park and
park,
stuff.
Joker,
And I have none of that. Well, I met you though, so I do get credit for that.
Yeah.
I do get, So I only meet people at church. That's the only time I don't have my AirPods in.
That's good.
But if I'm working, you guys are all like doing your own thing. I'm locked in on the job.
Yeah, that's not a bad. But even convenience too is kind of killing it, because like if you would hit the drive-through at Chick-fil-A, you would never met Cole.
Yep.
If you would have DoorDash.
Okay, all right.
It's like everything is. If we hit a Waymo, you're not having a cool conversation.
It's
like
true.
again, these things.
Down with the clankers, as Cody would say.
Yeah, whenever you need these things, man, are they convenient? But it's like, whenever you just take a step back, it's like, hopefully not everything's getting pushed toward. And I don't think it will, but it's like, if that is some people's whole reality of just the automated
Everything.
you going to the HEB in Texas, getting the curbside pickup, man, that's convenient. But it's like you're not running into any random people that you can talk to.
I think this is. I don't know if we want to go on this tangent, but
Go for it.
I feel like the pinnacle of how bad it can get is this whole like AI girlfriend thing. Like there's free speech, all that. I genuinely would just be fine if we just like outlawed, banned it. Like it's because it's not healthy people who are going to be on these things. It is people who like are the men who feel like they can't get a girl. And so we're now going to push them, onto like these online platforms where guess what? You can pay some giant corporation. So now you can have a girlfriend, that's not a real person. That's not going to push back on you.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that's like you start doing it because, okay, maybe you feel bad, and it's like, okay, it's kind of like for a moment. But the problem is it is actively making you worse at actually interacting with people. So it pushes you further down into a hole. And I just feel like it's very exploitative of people who are already lonely. And I don't think it's helping them. I think it's just going to make it way worse.
For sure. I mean, but with prohibition, you always have to consider sometimes prohibiting it actually makes the problem worse. And so it's just, that's a data thing. But I definitely agree that it's horrible. I hate the idea. Like if I found out someday my son had an AI girlfriend, I'd sit him down and be like, kid, no technology. No, we're prohibiting no matter what.
Yeah. So I don't know. That's
This might be kind of controversial, but me and Kedrick were talking about this, and I'm genuinely interested in hearing y'all's takes on what do y'all think about therapy. And
Bad, not manly.
Before I get into it, I want to just again, it's not necessarily some people might need it. It's a tool, but if we think about like, isn't it crazy that I use the analogy, our lifestyles now make it to where we have to go work out to get bigger and stronger and like to be fit. Like think about how like if you actually zoom out, it's dystopian to like go to this gym and again, working out is good and great, but it's like whenever you think about back then, the lifestyle was that was just like a passive thing.
Yeah.
And I feel like the uprise of therapy, and there's probably therapy AI or there's obviously online therapy. I think that is even a thing because it's not the lifestyle anymore of of the tribe, of actual interaction with third places and all that stuff. My take, and then I would like to hear y'all's, would be, I feel like that is almost like paying for what we have in our house of community, like-minded guys that you trust and that you can just pour your heart out to, and then they can help you. I don't know. Again, some people don't have that, and maybe it is good, but I feel like it's supplementing in a way. And so and I think that it would almost help the root cause rather than going to this. It's like, maybe let me just be around some more people that can lift me up and make some good friends rather than.
Wait, I'm a little confused. So you're saying you're likening it to the AI girlfriend?
To almost like the working out. I'm saying like we do that now because our lifestyles are so different that we have to supplement working out, because beforehand we would have just been chop and treat.
Yeah.
So it's like socially, therapy is almost like the working out of
the social life.
I guess mental health in a way, because we're so on our phones all the time and lacking connection that we have to literally pay and manufacture this genuine connection whenever I feel like how it should be, and like how we're very blessed to be around each other, is just to have a good group of trusted people to be able to do that rather than.
Yeah, and there's something too of someone who kind of like has this sense of how, like, that can help you see how you work. Like, I think that's kind of what the therapy thing is, and I think that's like a lack of having people who have lived life, like you think of like the classic archetype of an elder in the tribe of like who has this wisdom from life and like as like a teacher kind of figure who can help you through whether it's relationships, through trying to find your vocation, trying to find all these different things. To give you like of stories, like a really big thing for me is like having this sense that there's a character I can embody in different things, like a sense that I've seen an image or someone play this person, whether it's in a relationship or in the workplace, or just I've seen it play out, and someone to tell stories of those things so we can kind of like live that through their life, through their story, is that we don't have that. And I think that's kind of what we're trying to substitute, is like outsourcing this, like someone who can, when it's done well, who can outsource that storytelling, help you understand yourself. And I don't think that's what it is all the time even, but that's what it is at its best. Oftentimes I think it tends to be like okay, you're feeling this, and then trying to put a Band-Aid on the feeling rather than figuring out what's underneath it. It's like similar to how healthcare just gives you a drug to try to fix a problem rather than like, well, you've been eating Oreo cookies for 15 years, and that's like, it's not identifying it. At its worst, it doesn't identify.
Yeah. I think I would actually push back. So I've been to therapy 3 times. I'll kind of get into that in a second, but to me, therapy is is more so, not fully there, but is more so hey, you need to stop eating Oreos kind of thing. Because to me, you should just take, or I forget what exactly you said, like you should just take the pill kind of thing. I mean, that literally exists. That's what I do, right? I take a little, antidepressant and whatnot, and that's been really helpful to me. But I feel like there was almost a sense where it's like, man, if I would have maybe gone through therapy, maybe, and try to fix this naturally, it's like kind of a coach and kind of help me through that. Backing up a little bit, and maybe the ideas are a little bit contradictory here, but this is kind of just my experience with it. Is like the first time I went to therapy was really, really great, because that was when I was like kind of in the worst part of me having like OCD, like I've kind of been medically diagnosed and things like that. And so getting that diagnosis of like, okay, you have OCD, this is what that's doing to your brain, this is how you react to things differently. Phenomenal. Like that changed my life. Like no question. Like that changed my life.
Like knowledge helps with
the
that,
knowledge helps.
Yeah.
And that's not like something that a friend is necessarily going to have the knowledge to be like, oh no, you have this medical condition, your brain is going differently. Like that's very different. Now, the second 2 times I went to therapy, it was more like, okay, maybe I was trying to work through some of this anxiety, or, I had like relationship things and I was trying to figure that out. And neither of those 2 times did it feel all that beneficial to me. And so I think there's a difference between going to therapy to learn about your medical condition, and like kind of get that diagnosed,
Mhm.
and then and I think for some people, and like maybe I, if I went to therapy better, did different things, like, maybe I would have actually, been able to better cope with it. But there is power for me in like knowing this is my thing, and then, being able to like start addressing it. But I don't know. For me, therapy never like fixed anything, or it never fixed the problem. It helped me identify the problem, which I guess did help me start fixing it. But
Yeah.
it can't fix it for you. And then it's a weird thing because I do feel like I kind of did just take the pill, and that helped a lot. And so I just think there might be a difference too between like, okay, I'm feeling sad, and like, oh, you have like medical depression. Because I've had a lot of friends who it's like, they are just like, there's a difference between, man, like this sucks and I'm just kind of going through it right now, and like, oh my
They're in the
gosh,
pit.
they've been there for like all of the time I've known them for like years, and they just can't get out of it. And I'm like, there's something going on with your brain, like you just, it's just different. Doesn't mean though, I think it's kind of is a yes and kind of thing. It's like, okay, yeah, like I mean, you kind of think of like health and things like that. It's like, okay, people I do believe, are going to maybe naturally be more prone to being obese and things like that. But there's certainly things that you can do to exacerbate that. And then it's kind of a downward cycle. It's like, okay, well, I'm already fat, so I might as well, down the Oreos. And it's like, okay, but like, so I think that is the thing, is like people already have some medical depression, and then they do things that further their medical depression. Kind of with like the AI girlfriend thing. It's like, you're lonely. Okay, so the solution
make you more lonely.
is actually going to just make you more lonely.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my take. But I'm very interested what Cameron's going to say, because you were a psychology major. So
Well, yeah, dropout psychology major. No authority at all. But it's just what we were talking about last night. Like, yeah, if you're going to hurt yourself, if you're going to do something bad, like if you really need to take the pill. But at the end of the day, you still should be going to therapy, like the gym of the mental health life, or like trying to like work through the problems in your life so that you're less likely to need the pill in the future, because it's like, man, like the caffeine can help you feel awake, but ultimately like you need to be fixing your sleep schedule. And so it's not a complicated idea, and I'm not going to say more because I can't. I'm not valid. But no, I'll back you up. I do like therapy. I think therapy is a great, like, it may be dystopian, but even like the gym might be dystopian in some ways, but it has led to like some incredible knowledge and understanding of fitness that we have probably never had in human history. Like, when can you have that much isolated data on a singular muscle group? We'll probably get similar things out of therapy over time. Some simple understanding of linear issues, or not linear, but like singular issues and stuff like that.
And that's where I think and that's where, like, theoretically, that elder of the tribe has like some understanding of like human patterns. And it's like, that is a human pattern that some humans tend towards, like we had Arthur Brooks in here recording yesterday. He's like a happiness researcher for Harvard. He's like, there tend to be like these four categories of people who are there. It's based around like how prone you are to high positive and then low, like, and then negative emotions. Like, some people are more prone to high highs and low lows. Some people are like really low highs and low lows. And it's just like, so that means they're just like, oh, I'm mixing up my language there. Like, if they have high positive emotion and high negative emotion, so it's like high for both.
Yeah. Like, they're just going to feel a lot more of anything. They feel a lot more of
both, yes. And then there are people who feel low of both, so they don't have a whole lot of either. And then, so there's just these different patterns. Some people have more, and I think that's where that kind of thing comes in, is helping you understand, like, you are tend towards this kind of person, and then here are things that can help you manage that. And Arthur Brooks was talking about in here, he's one of those people that feels the low lows. And like, a lot of people in the past have tried to manage that with alcohol, with drugs. And it's like, because it's the difficulty of feeling low lows. When for him, it's like intense exercise, like no stimulus in the mornings of like any kind, no technology or anything. And then having like, he goes to 6:30 a.m. mass every single day. And it's like these, there are things that tend to help people at these different areas. There's some people that like, they're just like riding high. They're just happy, go lucky, and they don't have a whole lot of negative. And that's maybe those are the people that they need to learn to like not joke when certain people are having those tough
Mhm.
situations, and we all are at these different levels, and there's different problems that come with each, and so
Sure.
that's where something where therapy or having an elder, having a teacher, someone wise,
Mm-hmm.
would hopefully be able to give you that insight of, oh, you tend to be this.
Yeah.
Mm.
And that means you're going to struggle with that, and you are, but here's how we can maybe help you, and here's some things to do.
Yeah. Well, I think you talk about elders too. I think that's just like something we don't value enough
Yeah.
in society is like older people.
Yeah.
We pretty much just like, I mean, we just, stick to our people. We're
Yeah.
talking about podcasters, right? I mean, most of these, I guess, Andrew Peterson's older, but I mean, most of these guys are like, or wait, did I mix them up?
Andrew Guru and Jordan Peterson.
Jordan Peterson.
Yeah.
I don't listen to
Great
these
guy.
people. Yeah, I made him up.
Older.
But like older, but I feel like a lot of these podcasters are like, our age, give or take, 10 years,
Yeah.
but like, well, not take, maybe like 15 or, 11 for me. So,
Yeah.
but it's like, they're not that much older than us. And I think we need older men around us to like,
Mm.
I mean, we talk about, kids needing that, but I think, as men in our 20s, we also need that. So,
Yep.
And that's kind of like why I brought up the topic of feeling that, like, yes, some people like I think that there's value in knowing that we're not all experiencing the same highs and lows. Like, I don't know. I feel like in the
Mhm.
lower awareness part of my life, it just kind of felt like, all right, if this hurts me this much, it hurts him this exact same amount. It's like we all have different, like, exponentially different borders to our feelings. And so like, but I would hope that in kind of like what we're talking about with therapy, that it would be pushed less toward, I love the word you used, outsourcing. It would be less outsourcing for the people, and hopefully towards more community through church and relationships that, like, I mean, how we've met and continued to thrive in that. And so again, I guess I would say there's nothing wrong with it, but even working out, I feel like the gurus talk about the value in almost going back to those older, I don't know, movement patterns, and like even like the terms of like grounding and eating, like eating grass-fed beef, like carnivore stuff like that. Like a lot of the modern trendy things are really just reverting back to how it was whenever there's way less. And
Well-
so I would hope that there would be less outsourcing and more community and elders, like you brought up.
Well, and one of my favorite things I've heard from like old people is just like how little they thought about like their feelings and emotions. I think we're very hyper aware of these things.
Yep.
But like, I talked, there was one time it was at my Baptist collegiate ministry I went to in college. And there was like this, we were doing a panel on like relationships. And like, there's this older woman who's on the panel, and like a girl in college asks her the question. She's like, or she asked it to the whole group, but she's like, before you're ready to get married, do you need like, how does that relate to like needing to love yourself? And like the woman just kind of looks at her like, and she's like, wow, that's a good question. But like, I literally don't know. Like I've never ever thought like that. And I've tried interviewing my great grandmother. She was 99, now she's 100 for a documentary. And it was just like, like for a documentary, right, you want all these like emotional bits, but it's just like, I don't think she thought like that. People just weren't really open with their feelings. And I don't think and I think there is a sense of if you're not expressing your feelings, you're not necessarily feeling them as strongly. It's not an all good or all bad thing, but I do think we are like hyper aware of our emotions and feelings.
Yeah.
Whereas in the past, I don't think we were. And I don't know which is better. I think there is a lot of value in knowing how you feel, but I almost wonder if we've like taken that to the extreme.
How do you feel about that, Noah?
I think that is like how like our categories have shifted. Like there's more like it like
Sorry. Categories have shifted.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like what, like you could probably even look at like, if you looked on Google, like typed in the word like food, and like you can see how much more food has been used over the years. Like if you looked at the word, like Googled emotion, like emotion has probably come up like and used as a word a whole lot more now than it used to. And I think that naturally, it's almost like how architecture of a city like helps facilitate different things. Words I think are kind of the architecture for how we can like describe things and see the world. And with emotion, like having such a higher emphasis, like we are naturally going to think about that more. And there's pros and cons to that of like, okay, that like feeling things is like that your emotions can be like a tool to use to help you understand things. Like, cause that's what they are. Like someone asks you like, hey, do you want to go to the Chinese place or the Mexican place? It's like you have like a quick, like little emotional flick that's like, yeah, I want to go to the Mexican place. Rather than like having to sit down and do the pros and cons of a logical, like, okay, well, like tacos would cost $3 a taco. I think I usually eat 5 tacos and they cost like that's what we would do if we didn't have the emotions. Is the emotions give us a quick bit of information.
Yeah.
And I think that with a higher emphasis on that, we can get lost in it because they pack in a lot of information and can be hard to understand. And that's where if we put so much emphasis on that, it's like, well, sometimes it's like there's a simple answer. And that's where like if we had stories and examples of how do we do this in this certain situation, like with relationships, that question, it's like, how do you know when like you feel like you love someone or whatever the question is? It's like, well, you had this like if we had more stories and more like examples of what a relationship looked like when it was going well, we wouldn't necessarily have to like try to sift through all this emotional stuff. And so it's when it's like this really complicated mess of endorphins, all the like biochemical stuff, you can get lost in that pretty easily. So there is this
Are you doing a 6-7?
kind of, yes.
Sorry, I work with kids. I teach
when
kids.
JJ's out there saying we've got 6 or 7 minutes left on the clock.
Sorry, I canceled myself. I'll leave.
Yep.
The opposite of masculinity.
6'7". Hey, we were all about 6'9" is all I'm saying. So
Amen, brother. But I think it'd be good to finish up with all you guys, since we've talked about social media. We're all like trying to get into that with different projects. This is my project, like in Heritage Podcast, starting a YouTube channel. What are you guys working on?
Ooh, okay. So I am doing I'm going to create a new Instagram page, but also just going to be adding on to my current YouTube that I've had since I was like 15 or something like that. But I'm going to be doing this kind of exploring series where I just kind of go around and see new things. I've started off with some coffee shop reviews, and then I'm also just kind of doing some general random exploring, hoping one of these days to like kind of go and explore some just random Texas cities. I've got to talk to Cam about how I'm going to make that work on the algorithms. But I'm kind of excited, just trying to explore some things. I think I'm going to try to call the page Colby Explores, but we're kind of figuring that part out. But it's Colby's YouTube channel on the YouTube.
And by the time this drops, that will be live.
Yeah.
So I'll have that in the description.
Yeah, link in bio.
My name is Trip Wilson. Thanks to the encouragement of the house, I've been trying to put out more YouTube videos, and a lot of them are pretty raw. I feel like, especially, the name of the channel is Trip Wilson, so I almost feel like it's a extension of me, and I feel like I kind of want it to match my personality. So it's a little raw.
Autobiographical.
But kind of talking about some deeper subjects, but also I almost vlogging. I hate to say that, but it's more of documenting, and it's a mix of wanting to make cool videos with artistic composition, stuff like that, but also cover deep conversations, because I feel like I've been very impacted by both. And it kind of goes into what we talked about with social media of I have been impacted by it, and there is good out in it. So I would like to add more of the good to it in my own way. And also I'd like to work on a Christian clothing brand that I got in the works right now.
Dope. My channel's name, I'm Cameron Stubblefield. My channel's name is Shirty Ideas, but the meaning of the name is like, it's a play on words. Shirty, like it's like a bad idea, but the concept is just take whatever idea pops into your head and create with it. So the format is I make a shirt for the first video and I say whatever the top comment is on this, I'll design that for the next shirt. And the point is I don't get to pick the idea. It could be a horrible idea, but it doesn't really matter. You just need to pick something and create. Because if there's anything I could push on social media where everyone's just being a consumer, it's like, okay, we'll get out there and create. And so hopefully people will see the tools I use and like the AI and all these things and see, okay, these things aren't bad. They can just help me create more.
Yeah. And I think that's been a really big benefit in our house is, I think you were kind of some inspiration behind this. Like we're all going to try to make content thing. Cause I know for myself, like I've always said I want to do it and then I don't do it. So props to you
Well, I
for
appreciate
encouraging
getting the
that.
credit. I
You're
feel
already
like
doing
we
that.
were
in your
Older,
house.
wiser,
kinda-
elder.
Yeah, these are elder, house elder.
I feel like
Elder Cameron, Elder Stubblefield.
Ooh.
we're definitely very blessed with our group. I feel like we all found each other and it was very lucky that we were all like, whoa, we all want to do this. And we didn't plan for this at all in the house.
Yeah,
It just happened.
Literally took a picture the first night whenever I think it was you were still here at work, and then it was like you pulled out your laptop. It was talking about YouTube videos.
Oh yeah.
And then you were like assessing his thumbnails and stuff like that. And I was like, no way. I literally like took like a moment in time picture of like,
Oh, that's
I
awesome.
can't believe this is what I just got myself into.
Yeah, one
The
roommate's at a
posi-
podcast studio,
Yeah.
one guy's working on thumbnails, the other
Yeah.
guy's got YouTube stuff going on.
Positive peer pressure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's good stuff.
Well, man,
Well,
I was going to ask you, what are your hopes for the future of the podcast? Because you didn't get to talk about it too much.
Yeah, so I think I'd really like, I really like, you guys heard me talk about stories multiple times. Like I think stories, the humanities, the arts, like humanities, like English, the arts, all this stuff, I think that's what a lot of the podcast space tends to miss is it's a lot of like practical tools. It's a lot of quotes. It's a lot of like bits of information. Insights is like a pretty popular term, but I think it misses it's like a little bit reasony or philosophically stuff when like the way humans communicated things to each other for hundreds and thousands of years is through stories, through sitting around a campfire telling stories. And like all the oldest things that we have as humans are like, it's the biblical stories, it's the Gilgamesh story, it's the Homer's Iliad, it's like, and then there's stuff in the East too. And I want to like focus on bringing that back into the conversation. So in terms of direction, it's likely going to be in a kind of philosophy, culture, religion kind of bent. Those are my interests, but it's kind of throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks is kind of to use your shirty ideas thing of like just doing something. Because like in the end, you won't be able to find out what you want to do until you try things and you figure out what you don't want to do.
Yeah.
Kind of going back to that like the dating thing earlier. It's like you don't know what kind of person you want to be around until you go be around people. So that's kind of, I think, what we're all trying to do. Odds are Colby Explorers will not be the same by the time this comes out as it is right now.
Yeah.
Same with Trip Wilson's autobiographical vlog.
Trip Wilson is different.
Trip Wilson will be a
I'm
different
a changed
person.
man.
And Shirty Ideas will probably have a couple good shirts and
Yeah,
a
it might
couple
be a
bad
good idea.
shirts. And then
And then the Inheritage podcast.
the Inheritance podcast
will
and
be
Noah
released.
McRoberts. So, yeah, boys, thanks for coming on for podcast number 1.
Wow.
Numero
Honored.
one.
Thank you
Start
for
of a
having us.
legacy.
We
Make
did
sure
it.
you like, subscribe,
Yeah.
hit that bell.
Rate Noah's outfit on 1 to 10.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'll be in a different outfit every time. You got the leather jacket for number 1.
You got to hold
so
him to that because,
Yes.
if he doesn't, y'all should roast him in the comments.
You should. You
Yeah.
should totally roast me. But
the group-
odds are you're probably not going to end up watching this because this is the first episode. This is the first
No one
episode.
ever sees the first
So-
episode.
Alrighty. That's a
All
wrap.
That's a wrap.